What's up, guys? Dominic bassi here for the British Columbia Football Conference. We head into week number 7, and the playoffs are getting ever closer. And with that comes award season. It's not the Oscars, but the BCFC will hand out its All-Stars and its major awards. And I thought I'd look at this week, the Offensive Player of the Year running. Who's the favorite? Who will likely be our Offensive Player of the Year in the BCFC? And for my money, not a hot take or a crazy pick here, Andrew Pockerich. That's the guy, the running back, Langley Rams. For me, I see it as his award to lose, really, at this point. And I don't see that happening either. He's having a career season. He's more than doubled his production from last year, leading the league in rushing by, I believe, over 200 yards, leads the league in touchdowns with 9. And what really stands out to me, 7 yards per carry. 7 yards per carry, getting 70% of the way to a first down every time you let him touch the ball out of the backfield in Langley. I talked to some guys who watched him play in Nanaimo and against the Raiders, and they said he was just beast mode was the way that they described him. And even late in that game was really punishing the Raiders with some big, heavy runs. And that's the kind of guy you need to win when you get into late October, November, and you're playing, who else but the Saskatoon Hilltops? I mean, who else could be the Offensive Player of the Year? I'd love to hear your thoughts and, debate who you think is in the running as well. You look at the stats, and let's be honest, the people who do the voting, unfortunately, it's not like they get sent game film or get a chance to see every single kid play every single game. So it is a lot stat-based. Mike West of the VI Raiders is a receiver having a really strong season, leads all receivers and is second in the league with 7 touchdowns. But he only has a third of the touches of Pockerich this season. It's like 90-something to 30-something. So you talk about impact of your team, touching the ball that many times every single game. I think Pockerich has him there. And a receiver usually has to be really dynamic to take that award. I think Mike Shaper, 2014, when he set the single-season record for CJFL receiving yards with over 1,100, he was the Offensive Player of the Year that year. Funnily enough, wasn't the receiver of the year. But anyways, Brandon Poulin is leading the league in receptions and receiving yards. But for me, his team just hasn't had enough success. How can he be the Offensive Player of the Year if he wasn't able to power his team on to the type of season that we're seeing the Langley Rams have this year? And I know that quarterback is a sexy pick for this award, but there just isn't that standout QB this year, certainly not statistically, that's leading the way. I mean, Sean Law in West Shore has the yards, but again, I just don't think it's quite dynamic enough to challenge Pockerich for that award. This weekend coming up, 3 games, as always, 2 on a Saturday. One of them will go Sunday. And the game of the week for me, very predictable. The first place showdown, Langley Rams in West Shore to take on the Rebels at West Hill Stadium. That is a 4 o'clock kickoff in Langford. And I mean, this is a huge game. What else can you say about it? If the Rams win, they basically put a lock on that first place heading into the postseason for me, the way I look at the schedule playing out. The Raiders at the Broncos Saturday night, 6 o'clock, Hillside Stadium. I mean, the Broncos have had their struggles. We know that. But really compelling here because VI has a long travel day. They're going to be on the bus all day to get there, and then they have to get off and play. And they really need to win this game. If you look at where they are in the standings and the way the playoff picture is starting to shape up, they have to bring it against Kamloops. And it could be a really one of those trap games, as you hear a cliche, for the Broncos to maybe trap the Raiders there and see if they're really able to focus coming off that long bus trip. And then Sunday afternoon, the Huskers taking on the Okanagan Sun at the Apple Bowl, a 1 o'clock kickoff. Can the Sun play loose and relaxed and play as well as they need to against the Huskers team that is going to come in with nothing to lose, and they're going to put it all out on the field in this game for sure. If you can't make it out to the parks, you know where to go, bcfctv.com. And if you're not following us on social media yet, you should be. Facebook, Twitter, and hit the website bcfootballconference.com for a ton of great content. For the BCFC, as always, I'm Dominic bassi.